He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Attention, citizens of fair Gotham. Welcome to Bat Minute of the Phantasm, the show that tricks and schemes its way through this wonderful film 3 days a week. I am one of your hosts, John Parker, trickster extraordinaire.
And here, booting away as fast as I can from the onslaught of fans that we usually have on our way to the Bat Minute HQ. It's me, Niall McGowan.
We can't even walk around Liverpool without being swamped these days, can we? Just people left and right, like, oh, can you sign this Blu-ray box set of Batman?
Yeah.
Oh,
you go, are you him? He's like, yes, it's me.
Yes, you got me.
I'm like, with all the enthusiasm that Michael Keaton has in that Flash trailer of going, yeah, I'm Batman. And people were like,
he really seems like he cares. But you know what we care about? Our wonderful guest, returning once again, Bat Minute veteran, Stephanie Palacino.
Hi.
You kind of felt like you were going to mess up. I was like, is he going to call her Stacy or something?
No, it's dramatic, Niall. Drama. You've got to build it up.
No, there's drama. There's drama in this minute, all right. Goddamn.
Save the drama for your mama.
Yeah, it's all about the delivery, darling.
This is one of the ones, actually, this sequence in particular gets shouted out by, again, an American thing that we never had over here, only know about it through, like, cultural references, but now you can get this stuff on YouTube. Siskel and Ebert, they really love this movie. I've never seen an entire episode of Siskel and Ebert. I've only seen like little old VHS, like really crappy looking clips of them from people taped off the TV. And
I only checked it out recently. Listening to podcasts that mention it, like Unspooled and things.
But yeah, it was one of their things. Like they took a special moment to be like, okay, so sometimes we miss things in the cinema. And, like, we catch up with it on VHS, and we're like, we got to talk about this Batman movie. Because they're just like, the two of them came out there recently, and they're okay or whatever. But this thing is incredible. And they're like, you have to watch this Mask of the Phantasm film. And they're really, and one of the big things about it was that they really loved this sequence in particular. They're talking about, like, how nail-biting it is, and, like, it's just genuine tension that you actually think Batman's going to get caught and stuff. It's like, and they're like, yeah, they're not wrong. The only thing, bizarrely, that they are wrong about, and it was one of those things of like, ooh, man, I guess it's a good thing he's dead now, because people will be going after him on Twitter for going, what? Is that, because Roger Ebert was he's the short, stout one, and then Gene Siskel, you call the guy, wasn't it? The other fella?
Yeah.
Sounds right.
And he says he doesn't like Mark Hamill's Joker. He's just like, no.
Ooh.
He's just like, I don't like the voice. I don't think he sounds right. And it's just like, that's like the Joker voice. What are you doing? It's like, yeah, but back then there's some going in, yeah, I don't like this Joker. I don't think he works.
I could see if your knowledge of the character is purely like from the Adam West show and then maybe Jack Nicholson, I could see that being a bit, it's a bit too different. It's like, oh, okay, he's doing something else, and it might not, ring true for everyone, I guess.
He's old enough that, because I actually recently reread, now because I've got like the DC Infinity app, so you can get all the comics they have. Actually went back and read the first appearance of the Joker back in the back in 1940. And it's weird, before he's introduced, they do say that he has a toneless drone of a voice. Which is not what you think of for the Joker, but I guess maybe Gene Siskel read that back in 1940 and was like, that stayed in my head. And now you got this guy doing really theatrical things, and he's supposed to be a toneless drone.
What's his name? Caesar Romero.
Yeah,
Caesar Romero's Joker was like very, gleeful and like, yeah.
Again, though, now because Gene Siskel, I think he died in like the 90s. Like he
died a long time before. They're both dead now. Aren't
they? Yeah. Roger Ebert,
but he died a long time before, didn't he?
Yeah, he died before I even knew who they were. But when Roger Ebert died, it was like a big deal even over here because everyone knew of the reputation spread and stuff. But yeah, if he was on Twitter, people would be looking at that clip going, "What do you mean you don't like the Mark Hamill Joker?" Pelting them in the street and stuff.
The minute starts with a hero in need of a miracle, and it ends with said miracle arriving via vehicle. Sort of a half rhyme there.
She just kind of like shows up there. I always thought it was funny. I was like, no, I like how nobody ever chases. Like, you know, it's like, well, the car's just there. He's got no mask on, which is kind of like, which I kind of liked. Like, you know, so we have Bruce like getting away there. And yes, you're right about Bullock. He does is like, oh no, he's getting shot.
Yeah.
But I also kind of ordered him to get shot.
This is a whole thing. This though is like, well, I should put the caveat on. I love this minute. I think this is it's beautifully done. But one, Batman's hiding around the corner, and then somehow a helicopter gets the drop on him. He doesn't hear it until the light hits him.
He's concussed. We did say that.
I guess that's true. That's true.
We'll let him off with that because, I mean, I've been around a helicopter quite close, and let me tell you, you can't hear a goddamn thing other than the helicopter.
And you feel it, too. Ooh.
You feel it in your bones, yeah.
I saw a big nostalgia for helicopters because we've been growing up in Northern Ireland during the Troubles.
Oh, did they use helicopters a lot? I didn't think.
Oh, yeah, still do. When everything happens, my dad's always like, they had the helicopters out last night. Something's going on. It's like, yeah. But it used to be on the regular. Yeah, you go out and you see like something would happen. There was like actually a guy in my dad's street who died last year, the year before, maybe. And he had a lot of paramilitary connections, and that was over at the time he died. And like, obviously, his funeral, the street was packed with people who knew him, and they came out to the garden wall to see him go past. And yeah, you just hear the helicopters. There's like 5 of them just flying around, just all but keeping an eye in case anything happens.
Making sure nothing.
Nothing and then just seeing nobody gets blown up. Oh man, I had to explain to people. Do you know that we have a drink in the U.S. called Irish car bomb?
You can get it here, to be honest. I've seen it here, just not regularly.
Yeah,
I don't think they call it Irish car bomb here, though. I think that's an American thing.
Oh, no, Niall, that Irish bar I went to in town, it was called that.
They're embracing it now, but for a while, though, I thought it used to be called like a friggin' like an Iraqi car bomb or something as well. For some people, I think there was kind of whoever's bombing people.
We call it the Irish car bomb because it's Bailey's in a pint of Guinness. It's a shot of Bailey's in a pint of Guinness, so it's like that's kind of why they call it that. The Irish part to it
makes sense. Yeah.
Although I remember having it, and they used to put red aftershock in it.
Oh,
because that was supposed to be
Irish. What?
No, but it was supposed to be the blood. So it's like that's the bomb part of it. Like,
they're pushing it enough with the name, let alone adding blood to it. But you know what? I can see the logic of helicopters, though. Now, when I was surprised then that they use helicopters, I can see the logic. Especially if you're an occupying force, let's say, if you're driving around in vehicles, they might get blown up. Helicopter, much less likely to get blown out of the sky by just regular people, right?
Yeah.
You'd think.
It's true. Well, so this is I think it's a distinctly American thing because I remember my ex-husband, when he saw this, he kind of freaked out that we do this. Okay. When there's car chases in America, they stop whatever TV show that's on. It's like, breaking news, car chase going on, and like they have like the helicopter just like it's the most entertaining ever. I'm like, he's like, you just are watching a crime in progress. I'm like, yeah, it's great. Look at this. Oh, look at the cops going. Oh, he's running. They got the dogs down. Oh, it's like
it feels a bit in bad taste.
I know, but it's like they always have the helicopter on because the helicopter, even though it's not, sometimes they're police helicopters, but it's mostly news helicopters. And they're they're going live to tell where they tell the cops on air, like kind of like where the guy is going. And we see him going here and here and here.
No, that is so American though, turning it into a whole like spectator thing. Well, a bit like you seem to have lots and lots of cameras in like courts.
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do not do that.
I think it's the next minute at one point when Andrea's like, or Bruce is like, oh, your timing's fantastic. And she's like, it's all over the news. But although we know why she was really so close by. But Alfred would be like, I didn't hear a word of this on the news, Master Bruce. I think she might be lying to you.
She wouldn't do that, Alfred.
Yeah. But yeah, so he's sitting there, this helicopter gets the drop on him. It's Johnny Bravo again, the voice of the guy in there.
Yeah.
Don't know if you know that's
Stephanie
I didn't know
with the guy
that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that's the voice of Johnny Bravo there. So shockingly for the police, they give Batman the time to take out his grappling hook.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, because they didn't shoot him immediately. They like waited. They're like, oh, now I'm going to shoot. But then again, I was thinking to myself, it must be balls hot, because I was looking at the gun he has. I'm like, okay, so he's like, what, like a revolver? And they're far away, like on a chopper.
Yeah.
It's balls hard to hit Bruce. I mean, then everybody like just fires on him. So yeah, it does get kind of like, because he's just getting, everyone's aiming their fire at him. But that one guy would have I don't think he would have even been able to shoot Bruce, honestly, even if he tried to. I was like, hold on. I'm like, dude,
the pain in the ass of having to reload a revolver. He's probably like, there he is. Oh God, give me a minute.
Yeah, and I'm like, and you're holding to the side of a helicopter, and I'm like, if you were like, you better be strapped in somehow. Hold on.
Yeah.
Those things don't stay very still. I don't know if you've been in a helicopter before, but they are.
But yeah, but it's just the fact though, because usually, like, again, it's a thing you always hear in America of like, cop pulled a guy over, he was going for his wallet, and then he got shot because they saw his hand going into like a jacket or something. They assumed it was a gun, so they shot him. And it's just crazy that they give Batman the time to take out the grappling hook and fire at him.
He's white. Did you ever see that, Jeff? It's like,
if he wasn't white, oh no.
Why does he show the bottom? It's like to show he's a white man.
Just in case,
Just in case, yeah. I've heard that.
You talked about the revolver, and it made me think, though, I was looking at other guns in the scene. And I was really baffled by the other guns that the SWAT team had.
Are they AKs? Because I was like, they fire like they're AKs, but they would run out of bullets pretty quickly. Like nobody knows this about. Like, yeah, I was like, these are not unlimited bullets. You'd have.
It reminded me. I mean, I'm not a gun person. I mean, I'm English. What do you expect? But video games have taught me this looks like a Sten gun, which is a British submachine gun. Which was sort of around the Second World War onwards, which I think fits the Batman aesthetic, though. Because although a police officer, I would hope, wouldn't be using a Sten gun, we've talked a lot about how this movie and especially the Tim Burton movies, you can't place the era.
Yeah,
and it's all a bit around that kind of early, 1900s thing.
It's almost like between like the 20s to the 50s, like in a weird way. Like
So I felt like it kind of worked because they were made, a lot because they were very cheap. And they would just churn them out during the war. Like, oh, you can make this for nothing and just throw it out there. And it has that iconic thing where you hold it, like the magazine and the sort of other handle, I don't know what you call it, is on the side.
Yeah.
And they used these until 1990s.
Oh wow!
I mean, there you go. This could have been the last hurrah of the Sten gun. Then.
Yeah. It's bizarre, isn't it? It's a very strange one. They came up with some odd names for it as well when I was researching it because it had this unique appearance, and that, along with its questionable reliability, made it a bit unpopular sometimes because it was so cheap. And then I don't fully know why they went with some of these names, but some of the nicknames were the Plumber's Nightmare. The Plumber's Abortion.
Oh my God! Whoa!
What do people with Sten guns hate plumbers so much?
And then to mix it up, the Stench Gun.
Brackets makes plumbers stink.
Yeah. What's the plumber thing all about? It doesn't look like a plunger or anything.
Do you know that term like going postal?
Yes. Oh yeah,
that always makes it seem like that's from the early 90s. Wasn't like a postman went and started like firing up something.
Yeah, I didn't learn that for years after the fact.
But it feels like maybe that was back in the day. There's some famous incident where they had to use a Sten gun on a plumber or something, and it's just fallen out of like. So I think nowadays, if you said going postal to someone, they wouldn't. Like, a younger person,
you don't
wouldn't
understand
know what that
it's because the postman. Or it was a woman actually.
Oh, was it?
Oh yeah, I believe the story of going postal. It was a woman, but let me say.
Is it bad that I just assumed it was a white guy?
Oh, yeah. That's what I assumed. It was going to be a Travis Bickle type.
Yeah.
I also remember, because I remember thinking that was a crazy thing that happened, that it was, her name was, no, it was a dude. Sorry. I thought it was a woman because the name was Cheryl.
Was it a white dude?
Probably. Patrick Cheryl. That was his name.
That's a white dude.
Yeah, there you go.
Patrick, no, without a doubt. But yeah, so I'll have to look into it. Maybe look it up for the next episode. Why was it called The Plumber's Nightmare?
I actually don't know. I probably should have looked that up because I think I was so taken with those names that I was laughing too much to look it up. The Plumber's Abortion.
But speaking though of like, because that's gonna like really specific stuff. Like the plumber's abortion. Like, what is that referencing? Like, that must have been a really specific case or something. But,
It must have been. Been.
Oh God only knows. But no. So the Batman and I do love this. Yeah, this that and then shoots the grappling hook and starts like ascending towards them. And of course, everyone says like, "Oh, open fire!"
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's what I
It really reminds me of used to be one of the big catchphrases in early South Park, but then they forgot about the characters and never used them again. But here's when we used to have Jimbo and Ned, and they always had a thing of like, you can justify shooting any animal by or shooting anyone by just going, "He's coming right for us."
Oh, yeah, I remember.
This is real, like, "He's coming right for us" kind of energy.
Yeah.
And it's even in the novelization too. I actually appreciate it as a little note. Like they kind of emphasize that the cops are really scared, like because they're like, we're having to take on Batman here, and like when he grapples up, they start panicking, going like, "He's coming to get us!" And like they think he's gonna go up and kick the crap out of them, basically. But I guess maybe throw that in here. It might be a bit confusing to people because like the cops seem to be very in control of the situation, so why would they be panicked about him? But the whole thing then of it's a cool thing that only works in animation. I don't think you could do this. I've seen people go like, they need to remake Mask of the Phantasm as a live action film. No, you don't.
No,
it's perfect the way it is.
It is. Like people, I always find animation. Oh, so I went to a mixer recently and it was actually people working in animation. It was Latinx, the word I hate, but whatever. Latinos, I'll say in my head, in animation. And I was at like this mixer with all these people. And I was like, I love animation, and I feel like animation is constantly crapped upon, whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely.
And like, why? Why is that? People like love this stuff, but you know, I know it's very expensive to make it. It's hard and time consuming and stuff like that. But like, for some weird reason, like animation is always like the first thing on the chopping block. But then they take from animation constantly. Like there's a One Piece remake being made on Netflix, which here's the thing. I saw that Cowboy Bebop remake that they tried to do live action. And
it's atrocious.
It was, but like they spent so much money. Like this is why I think like why streaming is so messed up and why everything's going to crap. I'm like, they spent some insane amount of money to make that one season. And it was like, okay. And now they're doing a One Piece one that's coming out, and they're trying to do the Avatar one, which I'm also like, I'm not feeling that Avatar one. I'm like, everything I've heard about it. Like, I like who they've cast. Like, the actors and stuff seem like they'd be good.
Well, the casting in Cowboy Bebop looked good to me, but it doesn't mean it creates a good show.
Well, then, the one who was playing Faye had to say one thing that was, of course, taken as like, she hates white men. She
I think people were saying
she wasn't sexy
her outfit
enough.
Wasn't revealing enough, basically.
And I actually
but she's in other movies where she's got her clothes off and stuff. It's like, so like,
I had this argument and people got really in my face, and I was even saying like I go, you're bitching because you think you're like they wokeify it. You know that the creator of that show has done other shows. He's very progressive, like, in fact, super progressive in stuff that he's made. He did like. Nobody remembers, like, it was on Netflix. It was like, what was it called? Something in Tuesday. Like, these two girls who, like, basically want to become musicians. And, like, one of the girls' parents is, like, a trans woman, like, that, used to be her father biologically. And, like, they don't make this character, like, they go very deep into it. I'm like, this guy cares about being very progressive. And, like, and Faye, as much as I love her, like, listen, I've done a good cosplay here and there. It's goddamn hard not to have your tits pop out. All right, if you're trying to do stuff like this, okay, just like that's a wardrobe malfunction waiting to happen. But no, she did it wrong, and grr. And
I remember you saying one of the last times you were on, I think, Stephanie. Actually, weird enough because he does a voice in the movie, and this like the Ralph Bakshi thing, Wizards.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Mark Hamill did before Star Wars, I think. It was like he does a voice in it. But I remember there's a character you said, like, I wanted to cosplay as that character. It's like, that seems like that is just going to be... What she's wearing is basically nothing. Yeah. It seems like you would be constantly on alert at every given moment.
Eleanor is the character because, like, I have a very similar... I wanted to cosplay as this character because my body type is very much this character. Like, I have I got the thick thighs and that kind of like that's literally kind of what I look like naked for you. If you're interested in knowing, like that's kind of what I look like. But yes, her costume. It was like I was trying to find something. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna be like, is this a little too revealing? Yeah.
Well,
If you look up
well.
Eleanor from the Wizards, anyone, it's definitely bathroom material, if you know what I mean.
That's also a really good movie.
It's a great movie. Yeah.
Yeah, very, really unusual. It's one of those ones that's like, oh, it's just so good.
It's an animated classic from like the 70s. It's got like that's like a beautiful animation style.
Yeah, so the guy who did the original Lord of the Rings adaptation, Ralph Bakshi, did Fritz the Cat and stuff. And then,
Fritz the Cat. My dad loves that movie.
But no, but even talking about the bad rep that just people dumping on animation because people now like we need to make a live action Miles Morales movie. And I went to Across the Spider-Verse the other day, and it's like you're not going to make anything better than this in live action. Like
They'll
this
try.
Is just, it's so incredible. Like every frame is like this
that
is just beautiful
movie
to look
is
at.
the reason. The first one was the reason that they even opened up the idea of having these different universes in the Marvel, and DC now. I'm sorry to say, I'm like, you know what? They did it, and they were so successful. Because Lord and Miller are like, I'm sorry, they print money, these people.
But this would be impossible to pull off in live action. This thing of it appears as if Batman, cape spread wide, is now ascending up the grappling hook towards, and so everyone opens fires on it. Tears the cape apart, and of course reveals it's like a hobby horse underneath. It's somehow, even though there wasn't one next to him when we last saw him, he in like quick succession, in full light from this helicopter, managed to take off his cape and cowl, put it on a hobby horse, attach the grappling hook to it within a matter of like 1 second, and it's just a real like. I mean, I like it in animation. It's like, it's a good kind of twist reveal. I think the reason they put the close up of Bullock looking really shocked because you see like the bullets are like eviscerating the cape, so it's supposed to up your feeling of like, holy Christ, they're actually killing him. And then you find out, no, it was this thing the whole time. But it also would be like fundamentally impossible to pull off in live action. I think it would just look too silly.
Yeah, like hold on, not unless he like use like a flash bomb or something, it's like
yeah, but even like the physics of like just the big wooden hobby horse, like attaching that, and then as soon as it starts ascending up, it's just going to droop down. Like it appears here like it has a kind of animated Batman grappling hook kind of action going, where he's still kind of in ascent as he's going up. It's and physics wise it wouldn't work. Believability, it just wouldn't work. It's just like, and then he wouldn't have it wouldn't be the cape spreading like it's actually him gliding. It's like, no, it just looked like a mask flopping off of a hobby horse. Like it would look. So yeah, it's a great touch in this movie. But although, do you remember? Because I know, John, you saw this for the first time kind of before we started the season.
Yeah, I held off all these years deliberately.
But did you deliberately like when you? But when you saw it, like, were you like, "Oh my God, they've shot Batman"?
It did catch me off guard a little bit. I thought, well, he's Batman. He's not going to get hit. Oh no, he gets he dies. He gets ripped to shreds, baby. It was a surprise.
Yeah. Well, do you remember too, Stephanie, when you first saw it?
I did think he was actually getting shot.
Yeah. But also, did you clue in on who the Phantasm was? Do you remember it being like, or was it more like, of course it's her? Like, why
I kind of had a feeling it was her, like even as a kid, because I was like, who else could it be?
They probably assume like, little girls don't watch this, but like all the men are like, of course it's clearly her dead dad.
Did you guys watch that like one of the 90s? From the 90s animated series where they did like the judge, I think was the character, and
he turns out to be Two-Face.
But it was more it was Harvey, but not really. It was like almost like a third person. But I like that one kept me guessing more than this.
That one, I remember I've seen that on TV and been a big like, holy crap, like, they've done something new with Two-Face. Now he's got like 3 personalities. This is
Guilty.
Yeah. But we'll just have some notes though on, because we do see a little bit of, this is like the second to last minute we get of Harvey Bullock. And we've not really talked about him, like, because he appears so. Everything in this movie is all great, but it goes by so quickly. But I just thought it was a nice little story about his origins, just again, in terms of like, oh, it's just nice that people can just sort things out and get along. Is that he's accredited has been created by, and I found out how you pronounce this guy's name, because remember we kept bringing him up last season.
Oh, yeah.
It's Doug Mensch.
Mensch.
Did a lot of stuff for Nightfall, but it's written like Moench.
Yeah.
And I always kept calling him Monic and all this stuff. No, it's Mensch. Also the creator of Moon Knight, and Black Mask. So the same guy who birthed Harvey Bullock also created Moon Knight. But he introduces, a Detective Bullock in Batman 361 in 1983. So considering, like, the rich history of Batman characters, Harvey Bullock's only like 9 years old when they make this, which is a bit crazy. And then Alfred, well, he refers to him as the detective who looks like an unmade bed. Yes,
that's how I'm described often. Yes.
But he's flat out in that storyline a corrupt cop working for Hamilton Hill, who's a corrupt mayor, and he's put in Gordon's team to deliberately sabotage it. So he keeps pretending he's really clumsy and stuff, and then deliberately to mess everything up. And that's his whole piece in that storyline. People then started noticing that, okay, so Doug Mensch is supposed to create this guy in 83, but someone called Archie Goodwin had introduced a Lieutenant Bullock in 1974 in Detective Comics, and basically they're going like, oh, is it supposed to be the same guy? And Doug Mensch has come out and said, like, no, it's not the same character. My guy's named Bullock in tribute to a guitar player called Hiram Bullock, who's like a jazz funk guitar player who played on the theme tune to Taxi. And of course, Taxi features Mary Lou Henner, who's in this movie. And also had Danny DeVito, who's in Batman Returns.
Everything's connected.
And Andy Kaufman, who was played by Jim Carrey, who was in Batman Forever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Literally everything's connected.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, Archie Goodwin is legally credited as the creator of Harvey Bullock because, it's royalties for then his widow. And Doug Mensch said, like, yeah, I know her. She's a good woman. I'm not going to contest that. Like, the character is not. They're not the same guy. But yeah, she can have the money. Like, I don't want to cause her any duress by going and try to take this to court.
A widow's money. Like, there's a
just to say that I made up a guy. But he's just going like, look, I did make him up, but by all means, credit him. Go right ahead. As it went on, it was like, Mensch just really liked writing Harvey Bullock because he's like, oh, he's just this big, loudmouth, obnoxious Brooklyn dickhead. Basically, he's just really fun to write for. And so he just kept him around. And then it was one of these things where, like, Denny O'Neil takes over as editor-in-chief at DC in 1986, I think, and he wipes the slate clean for a lot of people and goes like, we're getting rid of all these characters, we're starting from scratch. And so Harvey Bullock was off the board for a while. But then literally in 1987... there's a comic line Vigilante, who Vigilante's like he's one of the Justice League, but he's a cowboy. That's his thing.
Okay.
He's just a guy riding around a horse with a bandana over his face and a cowboy hat.
A literal
and he has
cowboy.
6 shooters. Yeah. And there's episodes of I was actually put it about it because I was watching an episode of Justice League this week that he's in. Giant alien invasion going on, and in the middle of it, there's just this asshole cowboy running around shooting people with 6 shooters, and you're like, what the hell is he doing here? What good's he gonna do?
I can appreciate that though. There's like, what he's trying.
In Vigilante, literally the next year they brought back Harvey Bullock because they're like, we love having him here. And then he was only supposed to be like a guest character, and then they just enjoyed him so much. So they're like, nah, bumped up the series regular, and then it just was a thing. And B-Task comes out. Everyone loves Harvey Bullock in it. They keep writing on episodes, and now he's kind of
because he's like a good foil to like Gordon. Like Gordon's all.
It's good for he's all business. Harvey Bullock's all like Gordon. He's the good efficient cop, but he has his belief in the wild card of Batman. Whereas Bullock's a complete mess, but he really hates Batman because he believes more like, oh, the police should be handling these things, not some psycho and stuff. He's just a really great character. He always has that thing too, where it's like because he originally was a corrupt cop. And he has a kind of dodginess about him. There is always this vibe of like he could be maybe he is on the take. Maybe he is corruptible and stuff. And that kind of.
But he has moments where like you think that like he just cares. Like I think that like I don't know. That's my feeling about it. It's like maybe, but I also was like, oh, I feel like maybe he just
I think it's everything about him is like he 100% is a good cop. Like he's like he looks like a slob, but he's just like, no, I believe in helping people and doing the right thing. And it was again that episode Bullet for Bullock, which is a great episode, by the way. Highly recommend people search it out. Like his whole thing's like, yeah, I put away a lot of scumbags. Like I've got people who are out for me because I've put away so many legitimately bad people that when someone's got a target on him. He's like, it could be a bunch of guys.
Like 100 different people.
Yeah, they go out. The thing is, though, you watch the episode, the first scene, like, he almost gets killed, and he's like, oh, who's after me? And then it must be, like, Vinny the Shark or whatever. And then when he goes home, there's, like, a really prissy, uptight neighbor who keeps complaining to him, and Bullock treats him like crap, and you're like, it's that guy. It's going to be that guy. So then they go, him and Batman team up, and they take out Vinny the Shark and all this stuff, and it's good Norse fun. And then at the end, this guy's still trying to kill Bullock, and you're like, it's because it's the goddamn neighbor, man. You made it way too obvious. And at the end, you should have known as well, because that neighbor, played by Jeffrey Jones, the dad from Beetlejuice, who's a bit of a villain in real life. So,
oh, yeah. He is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that he had some dirty stuff going on.
Yeah.
You're wondering why you've not seen him recently? It's because he's been unemployable. So.
Well, yeah. It kind of inevitably would be.
Except for Deadwood, they kept hiring him for some reason.
Yeah, that threw me a little bit because I love Deadwood, but by that point, like everyone knew.
Yeah, they knew at that point. And then they had that revival movie, and like, he was still in it. And you're like, oh, you guys are really sticking with Jeffrey Jones, huh? That was a bit of a weird look, but no, okay.
It's kind of funny, but no, it's also like I'm like it's funny, but it's also like yeah, isn't that kind of weird?
Yeah. But no. And then you just have things like Bullock always has a kind of a little inherent distrust of Batman because he thinks like, well, you never know, this guy's he's a wild card. We don't know we can entirely trust him. And so there's even things like he makes good friends with Robin, like he loves Robin, like because they love old movies and they talk about old movies all the time. But Batman, he's still like, nope, don't like him. So, but at the same time, he does that look of shock on his face when he sees him getting shot, as if he's like, oh. It's like, I can't believe we actually did it. Or he is like, I didn't want to kill him. What the hell? You know?
I'm like, but you're shooting at him. So I'm also like,
Yeah. But maybe he didn't see it going this way. He was like, no, I was going to go in and intimidate him and then hope maybe have to shoot him in the leg or something when he give himself
Listen,
up.
shooting someone in the leg is still pretty crap. Don't do that.
Yeah, just try not to shoot people in general. That's probably a good thing. But he's, as you say, he's been shot. He's dead. Our official period of podcast mourning begins.
Yep.
No, as I said earlier on, when you find out what's happened, and I was kind of joking a little bit before, like, oh yeah, but when you find out what's actually happened,
is going to die.
Yeah, it is like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That's very different. That he's took the whole outfit off to do this little ruse.
But again, that adds more drama because like, how often do you see Batman running around in costume without the mask? It's like the fact he's having to do this is like a big special thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and it looks amazing, the outfit, like when it's flying towards the helicopter before you realize what's going on. It looks incredibly cool.
Oh, it's a great shot of him going, oh, not him, but the hobby horse.
Which I'm like, how did you just grab that?
Don't they weigh a lot?
Yeah,
but then again, he's really
they're for saws and stuff. I mean, he is jacked. But I mean, we did mention he's concussed.
Yeah.
I guess maybe it's the glare from the light. Maybe the police wouldn't be able to see him do it or something. But this whole sequence is like, again, there's little bits of silliness. Like, he descends this rope and then has to jump the rest of the way down. And it's like, he's still like a mile up. Like, I'm pretty sure like it'd still be massively dangerous to do that. But
yeah.
I'm sure like in live action they probably would do, like he'd be clattering into friggin' fire escapes and like banging his way down to like the street level. They'd put up a lot more drama of it. But here it's like, no, he just jumps down and
he's lucky that he's in the shadows as well, because they're going for him. They're trying. They notice he's making his escape, but he is hidden enough they don't see his face at all. Yeah, not even a glint.
Yeah, just ever so slightly. I know. I was thinking that too. I was like, I feel like this is like so close to.
I like that though, because it, as you say, it's very rare you see Batman in that position. So it does add a danger to it, which something that the goddamn live action movies hardly ever do.
Yeah, oh, totally. It's like the fact that even like it's just a random SWAT guy, but as he's running down that little tight alley, there's a guy literally behind him.
Yeah.
Like they've almost got as the famous episode of the show said, almost got him. But that should be the next minute. It should have Harvey Bullock going, almost got him. He goes to that club and hangs out with Two-Face and the Joker and stuff. Let me tell you my story, guys. But yeah, it's the genuine look of panic on Bruce's face too. Where it's like they did that. The animated series is very good about showing him not being like infallible. Like he was, you know, he was captured and shocked by things, but he looks genuinely like kind of terrified now because it's like they're literally right on his ass. Like they're. Although saying that, watching that Justice League episode, it does have a cool moment of like infallible Batman where he's flying around the Batwing against this big giant alien thing. And then it blows up. The Batwing gets blown up, and Batman's just like falling down to the ground. And he just kind of gets on the radio and he says like, "Yeah, Batman to all points. I'm going to need some aerial support because I can't fly at all." And then he's just, as he's approaching the ground, he's just like, "Now would be good." And Superman comes and gets him, but he's just so like, yeah. So someone please come and save me from certain death here. But he just never loses his cool about it and stuff. But so that's a nice moment. But also like I like infallible Batman at points, but I do like him to be very much a human hero. Yes. And so seeing him genuinely himself because the cops are right behind him. No, I was like, yeah, this is great.
I agree. Always prefer it. To me, I've said it before, Batman's not a superhero. Superheroes to me imply superpowers. Yeah, he doesn't have superpowers. He's just he's a rich guy. That's a superpower.
Well, I always that was always one of my favorite jokes from the Powerpuff Girls of when they bring in that character Princess.
Oh yeah.
And she was a great villain. Like like the Powerpuff Girls was so ahead of its time in terms of it was a great show. But like they had a joke, they're like, you can't buy superpowers. She's like, tell that to Batman. And I'm like, touche, little girl.
Well. That was great. That was my Sunday mornings, Powerpuff Girls and Daria on Irish TV. It's like what a time to be alive. But yeah, so Bruce then hauling ass over this fence, and then seeing, of course, Andrea's Roadster revs up. Same one I think she had in the flashback. So I'm guessing it was in storage or whatever. Like in 10 years, She
kept it in a nice way. I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. A family going through troubles, financial troubles. Like, sell that car. What are you doing? But yeah, and then we get a proper good gravelly Kevin Conroy, Andrea, which we noted before was I think they named her after Andrea Romano, the voice director.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Because. Yeah, it used to be because Kevin Conroy is, everyone knew that he was supposed to be, he was in the closet for a long time, but everyone knew that he was gay. And so he would always jokingly be flirting with Andrea and going through the microphone going, "Oh, Andrea," and doing a sexy Batman voice and stuff. So they put it in. But I'm also thinking that, because I'm going through Batman Beyond as well, and I noticed that Terry McGinnis's girlfriend is called Dana.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, well, Andrea Beaumont is voiced by Dana Delaney. So is it kind of like passing the torch to be like, okay, so from Andrea Beaumont to now, to link him and Terry and Bruce together too? It's kind of like, well, his girlfriend is named after the woman who voiced Andrea Beaumont or something, maybe? I just thought, maybe it's in there. And of course, Dana, voiced by Lauren Tom, everyone will remember as Amy from Futurama.
Oh, yeah, I did love Amy. She was fun.
Yeah. But yeah, presumably the Phantasm gas doesn't have a smell or anything though, because you think Bruce would get in and just be like, "What's that stench?"
Yeah,
seeing all the gas leaking out of the boot or something. Oh, my carburetor's acting up. Just ignore that. There's also the idea too though that she is getting around as the Phantasm in this little snazzy little Corvette deal, and just opening the boot and putting on the whole all right, get my axe hand on, get my giant padded 7-foot man outfit together, and let's start climbing some ladders here. Yeah.
Is that a euphemism? Clapping some ladders?
Clapping some ladders.
But yeah. So then we that's pretty much the end of the minute. The only note I do have is that. The old Batman does the old hobby horse again because I've been making my way through the show, and Batman does do that hobby horse trick a couple of times.
I'm glad that this was just nearby, just
Yeah,
It's like, oh, it's the old hobby horse trick again.
Now it's in the episode The Worry Men. It's a Mad Hatter story where like all these rich people have been buying these little. The episode now seems like I don't know if you'd make that these days because like this woman's come back from like Africa and she's like, oh, I've got these little gifts for everyone, and they're little like wicker kind of totems from like some sort of voodoo tribe or whatever.
Oh yeah, wow! But I mean, it does
then,
sound like something that you would give out to rich white people at a party. Oh my god, that is so cool and interesting.
yeah, it does have that vibe of like, look at this exotic thing I found. It turns out though it's got a little microchip in it. This Mad Hatter's been controlling people, and then they go around dressed up like lion's mane rags and stuff. And it's just all rich white people, but he's got them under his control. But that was a bit at the end where Batman, you think he's getting shot? No, he's put the mask on a hobby horse because they go into like a museum that's got like.
Wait, did you say that? Is that before this or after this?
That'll be before this
this.
or before this movie came out. So yeah.
So it could be a reference to that.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Check if it's the same writer because you might have just been like, it's a you guys, you have your grappling hooks, I've got my hobby horse. Like, why don't we just combine the two? The fail-safe Batman get out of jail free cards.
Yeah.
What I've always wanted. Like, okay.
That's the thing in that episode right now. That it's like, there's a museum of like Batman stuff where they go in. It's like, oh, there's the cape, and there's a waxwork of the Joker and stuff, and like, I guess would people do the. I don't know if I'd go to see like a waxwork of friggin' Harold Shipman or something, like Jeffrey Dahmer or something. You'd be like, no, it's weird.
No, I kind of would. And a mutual friend, although we haven't seen him in a long time, Kurt Walsh.
Oh yeah.
Used to run a horror. What do I call it? Sort of like a horror museum, and it had waxworks like that.
Yeah, but I think that's fair enough if it's like Jason Voorhees, but like I was going to see like a
real. I think some real people, as in
I think I'd like see like it's Myra Hindley in waxwork form.
Well, I'd see it. I'm a bit weird.
I'll be a bit weirded out by that. I guess I'm not getting any money out of it. It just feels a bit weird. It's that line of like, are you romanticizing these horrible criminals though? Because they're bad people, man.
Yeah, it's a fair.
They are bad people, but it's not that I would say you're romanticizing it, but there's a fascination of like the people who go a little bonkers. But I think we're being better about that now. Like about. I know that particularly in true crimes, they usually lead with the victims now. Like I've known that they've been done a big change about like, we're not going to, we do talk about that person, but it's more about the victims. Like, and I noticed this. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the Netflix Jeffrey Dahmer thing where people are really up in arms about it. And they're like, you can't keep romanticizing. And they're like, no, this episode is actually focused on the lives of the people he killed. It kind of be like, it's not all about him, we are trying to balance us out of it and stuff.
Yeah, no, I thought so too. And I also thought it really showed how people didn't give a crap about the victims, and the fact that the neighbor was constantly saying like, I'm like, yeah, that was actually true. She said he was probably murdering people. And I'm like, now I don't know if any of my neighbors are murdering people, but I haven't heard anything suspicious. They might be like, getting on me about it.
They're all doing it. Everyone.
But yeah, the one thing we are asking though, Stephanie, this season, because Batman BTS was such a seminal classic for people of our generation when we were growing up, we're asking what other people's other favorite animated shows were from back in the day. And I know you have a passion for animation, so
well, it's obviously. I mean, I would say yes, I do love animation. I wish I was a better artist. Obviously Daria, but if we're going to like that era, I mean, and everybody's saying they got to bring this. Static Shock was great. Like, oh yeah, like that was like a cool black superhero, and they dealt with stuff. Remember, like they show his partner Richie. His dad was racist, like straight up racist, and I'm like, they did that in that show, and like they didn't even like and nobody said it was political. I don't ever remember hearing things like, so blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what the hell happened? I'm like, God damn it. We used to be able to do this without everybody complaining, but maybe I'm wrong. And, people did complain, just the internet changed things. But
yeah, you didn't have to listen to everybody. That's now everybody
Yeah.
thinks my opinion is just as valid as someone else. It's like, no, it's not. I don't need to listen to it. Shut up.
good beep, Static Shock. And I was like, yeah, I loved Static Shock.
Spin off of Batman the
It
animated
was.
series too.
It was
Yeah.
the same with Zeta Project, which was of course, Batman Beyond, which was that was a spinoff of that. I don't just want to talk about like DC stuff, so let me think of stuff. Like obviously, I don't know if this would be even a little bit later from that time period, but any of the stuff that used to be on Cartoon Network that came from the What a Cartoon, which used to be a great idea. They used to take pilots and then people could vote on which one they wanted to turn into a series. And like that's how we got Dexter's Lab and Johnny Bravo and like Powerpuff Girls and like just everything of that era. I felt like there's a lot of golden, like, I think we're kind of in a more, I mean, maybe I'm wrong and people have recommendations, but I'm like, have we reached like a dark age? Because like now Owl House ended, you don't have really Gravity Falls anymore, Gumball and stuff like that. I'm like, there was like, I remember that wave, and then the second wave came, which was really good in like, the 2010s to even like the early 2020s. But now it's like, what's there? And maybe it's because I don't watch a lot of stuff anymore, but I would like to. I mean, except for Bluey, which is my favorite show for kids ever and adults. Watch Bluey.
Yeah, I've seen people who don't even have kids watching Bluey.
Everyone
Bluey
seems to be
is
into this show.
great. It is
Should we do
a
a
beautiful
Bluey-
show. Oh my God, I'd be on that. Please, I call it. No one else can have it.
We'll do a podcast to introduce me to Bluey, apparently.
Oh my God. I watched way too much. I've watched all the episodes. I'm way too into it. And I'm not even one of these like super fan. Like some people get really into it, but it's like one of the only shows that like me and my daughter, like we just watch it together and we both enjoy it. And especially since I've been going through like, kind of, for those who don't know, yes, I said it before, I'm getting separated. So because that's been happening. Bluey was a show that like really just helped me enjoy like just life. I was like, oh, it's wholesome and it's hilarious.
Yeah. I've been watching it with like because I look after my friends' kids sometimes. I've been shocked to see like random lines in Bluey getting me properly like, guffawing with laughter. I was like, oh, I didn't expect it. This actually be good.
Yes, I know that's kind of a weird one. I feel like they set the bar so low for kids cartoons, but like Bluey is like one of the only ones where I'm like, oh my God, this is very much. I like Chili, who's the mother character. I'm like, she's my spirit animal. Like, there's so many episodes where I'm like, there's an episode I often say it's called Omelet, and like, if you watch, it's 7 minutes long. It's on Disney Plus. It's called Omelet. It's in the 3rd season. That is my life. That is my life, and it's just about the mom wanting to make a quick omelet for her husband, and then her 4-year-old daughter, Bingo, asks to help, and she's like. And just the chaos. It's like, hi, I want to help you. And I'm like, oh, God damn it. Like, and I know, and you can see it in the mom's face. And she's like a dog. But I'm like, yeah, I know what that's like. Where I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go get this. And it happens to me all the time when I'm doing the laundry or like any kind of chore in the house. I'm like, I'm just going to do this quickly. I want to help you, mommy. And I'm like, oh, okay, honey. And I noticed this because like I've been doing like a garden upstairs. Like I have a little vegetable garden going upstairs. And my daughter wanted to help me. So I don't know what any of the plants, like I finally figured out where the lettuce is. Like the lettuce, I know what it is, and the broccoli it is. But like there's an area of chaos where just everything is growing. Like not in any order. They're not planted correctly. They're not in neat little rows. Just a bunch of random stuff is growing, and now they're flowering. And as they're slowly making stuff, like the vegetables are now popping out of the flowers. I'm like, oh, that's what that is. Because I had no idea. I'm like, what did we even plant here? Because my daughter's like, I'm going to help you. And she just threw seeds everywhere. And like she just threw handfuls of seeds right there and just went, jump. And I'm like, yes, that's parenting for me. And Bluey's very good at like letting me understand what that's like.
Well, I don't know in terms of like modern stuff that's on there because saying like Gravity Falls ended a while ago, but it's an incredible show.
Oh, Gravity Falls and Owl House, which which ended fairly recently. For Pride, it's after Pride, but right now we're recording this. It's an LGBT friendly show.
It's very much aimed at kids though. As well.
It is aimed at kids, exactly, and like. Oh God, I could go off that rant forever of like we're indoctrinating the children. And like, okay, well.
But I mean, like I'm all noted out for minute 47 though.
All right, kids.
Yeah, same here, same here.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks again, Stephanie. Always a joy to have you on. So.
Well, thank you guys. Make sure to follow me on Caffine Jedi on Instagram, YouTube. I still occasionally do YouTube videos. I really should finish my comic book one day. I had that thing called burnout. I know that people don't realize it's a real thing, but I was working so hard on it, and then I fell off for a year. I'm like, what happened? And now I'm back on it because the fun thing about separation is that, due to the unequal parental structure that we live on, thanks to the patriarchy, I was taking on way a lot of the child care, more than I had anticipated. So I didn't have any time to do anything. And now that I'm separated, and we have more of an equitable parenting system in place, I'm like, wow, I have so much more free time. This is crazy. Yeah, so I'm hoping to get back on it.
Amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, check all of that out and keep your eyes peeled for more of this comic then.
Yes, it's called Lemon Drop. It will be actually starting. I have decided come the fall season, I will start releasing episodes because I have episodes already made, but I'm waiting to get as many done as I can to have a proper release schedule where I'm not too delayed. So
always a good idea.
You guys will see it if you guys like very, very dark comedies in a kind of semi-post-apocalyptic world with a nuclear element. It's called Lemon Drop, and it will be hopefully dropping in September. First episode. That's my goal. Oh yes, but I'm also looking for a composer. I don't know if by this point when it comes out I'll still be looking for said composer. But if you're a composer, message me. I need someone.
Yeah, message Stephanie anyway. Because maybe a future project.
I do. I look for people that I could work with. If you're not a pain in the ass or a crazy person, that's kind of my threshold.
That's all it takes.
Yep.
Well, do all of that. And as usual, speak to us on Facebook at the Bat-Minute Listeners Cave, Twitter at Bat-Minute, Instagram, The Bat-Minute, and why don't you go to our network, Sleepy Charlie Media, on Patreon, where you can get bonus episodes and commentary tracks and all kinds of other weird gubbins that we come up with on the fly, because we lose our minds every now and then and decide, you know what, let's just sit and talk about Terminator 2 for 2.5 hours.
Gubbins indeed.
Gubbins galore over at Patreon.
Gubbins. I just
check out those gubbins and join us again next time for more Bat-Minute of the Phantasm. Hey.
And the Furious. I'll say that again. Next time, the past and the Furious. Busted, bleeding, and bereft of his cape, a bruised Wayne is saved and makes good his escape. But as the deflated Deflutamouse and his roadster revving rescue ranger haul ass, will Andrea open up and explain more of her past? She sells Sanctuary in our subsequent episode. Folks, same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
I must have die fit habitane.